Level 2, this is Sports Rage. I am Morency. Last thing about Victor Wembanyama as well is that you don't want to be associated with Drake too much anyways. He's kind of a curse when it comes to sports. The Raptors did win, but, it was 25 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 25 years. They did win despite Drake being on the bandwagon. But even though Drake is a supposed Raptor fan and all this, dude's got a Golden State Warrior tattoo. You know what I mean? So, he's kind of playing both sides, to be honest, right? And that's the whole thing. But the Raptors used Drake to make them cool with kids, and it was a good partnership. It was like a marriage of convenience. Drake was hip. People do like Drake. Kids like Drake.
It was a marriage of convenience.
It was perfect. It was like,
perfect.
listen,
you're right. Yeah,
we're gonna be hip now, and people are gonna want to buy Raptor gear and your OVO stuff because you're a big merchandise and marketing king, and it'll help you because you're gonna get the NBA brand associated with you and NBA players. Drake is very slick.
He is.
Drake is very slick, like that. Like he had Lamar Jackson on his stage the other night. You know what I mean? He doesn't have Zach Wilson on, right? He only picks who he thinks is cool and is going to sort of help him. All right, well, welcome Sirius back in a second. Julio's going to step up and then later tonight, and I know Julio's fired up about the PWHL being back tonight. We ended up going 1-1 this evening. I'll tell you what, though, they're starting to fight in this league a bit now, and it's funny. Shout out to everyone joining us on Sirius XM channel 159. Yeah, the PWHL, the Women's Hockey League, it's doing really well. People are watching it. People are betting on it. People are going to it. It's doing well. And it's getting chippier and chippier on, a game-by-game basis to the point where, there's going to be fights. And I saw Brian Burke, who's associated with the league the other day, saying that they want the physical contact. They like the hitting that's going on. But they're going to draw the line. They don't want these women fighting. And they said that the fans don't want to see these women punching each other in the face either. Yet it's getting close. Toronto and Boston came real close to throwing tonight, and it's great stuff. Let's bring in Griffin Murphy, who's a great guy, but I know he's not capping PWHL games. If we ask him what he thinks about Montreal and Boston and the PWHL, he's not going to know, but he'll know everything about the NBA. What's going on, Griff? How you doing, my man?
Gabe, I'm living the dream, brother. How are you? Cam, how are you as well, my man?
Griff's audio
both you guys.
Yeah.
It's always something. Last night, Cam had was muted. Get Griff up and running. What's going on, Griff?
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm living the dream, Gabe. How are you, man? I'm still in the Mecca at Vegas, getting ready to head out to Arizona tomorrow for the weekend. We got NBA playoffs en route. MLB finally at that tack point where we've been finally waiting for, where we actually get some legitimate stats instead of stupid teams like the White Sox getting or blowing anyone out. Well, that hasn't really happened yet this year, but you get where I'm going with the drift. We're in full momentum here, full gear, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, it's playoff time right now. NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. Roll on. There's some cool baseball series this weekend. The Mets are in Los Angeles against the Dodgers, but let's hit the NBA. And Jimmy B is going to be out tomorrow night. The Bulls are getting 1.5 points on the road. They were super impressive last night, but let's be real. The Atlanta Hawks suck. And the Bulls are not the same team on the road as they are at home. Everything just fell into place for them last night. I'm not a big Miami guy, though, even though I was on them last night. And now you take Jimmy Butler off that team, and they need Tyler Hero to step up tomorrow night. What do you think of this basketball game, and how do you think it plays out?
Well, Gabe, this is always a rivalry type of matchup when you got the Bulls going at it with the Heat. You've got to say, though, the Bulls snuck their way into this game to begin with. 4 or 5 games under 500 to even get in here. They shot 42% from the perimeter against Atlanta, and they out-rebounded them by 15 boards. You're going to need DeMar DeRozan and Kobe White to really go off in this game. And then you look at Miami on the other side of things. Well, you've still got Bam and then Tyler Tyler Hero from the perimeter. This team right now, they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're playing very strong basketball, and they just lost by 1 point to a Philadelphia team that was on an 8-game winning streak going into that game. I love the way the Heat roll into this matchup, especially when it comes playoff time. That is where they thrive the most. They have a very good coach, much better coach than the Bulls, in my opinion. I like the Heat in this one, Gabe.
You do, huh? I like your confidence. I don't share your confidence, but I like the conviction there, Griff. Just because to me, I don't know what we're going to get from Tyler Hero. I like Bam Adebayo a lot. I think he's a great player. I have a lot of respect for Eric Spoelstra. And the Bulls did this last year. The Bulls went into Toronto last year, actually, and beat them. Remember, DeMar DeRozan's daughter was streaking during the free throws, and the Raptor players kept missing free throws because DeRozan's daughter was yelling so loud. And I remember they asked Scotty Barnes after, could you hear her yelling? And he goes, what, do you think I'm stupid and deaf? He goes, of course I could hear. And he was like, he was mad. He was like, I don't know, man. He goes, I don't know how they allow that stuff, man. It's like, I don't know, the fans can yell. She's just an annoying 9-year-old girl with a squeaking voice. But the Raptors missed the free throws because of it. But what do you think of the Pelican game? Similar situation. Zion's out for the Pelicans, but
that's a gigantic.
I think they can absorb it more than the Heat can absorb Butler being out. That's my take.
I agree. I think so as well, but you kind of have to look at the way they just played. I mean, their entire load was Zion. The dude dropped 40 points. The way that he finally drove to the basket, and that was kind of what I've been looking for him all season long, was the way to attack the basket and just get those 2 points. He did it all game long against the Lakers and made them look silly doing it. And then you've got Brandon Ingram, who dropped 11 points in that game, and CJ McCollum, who dropped 9 points in that game. These are supposed to be your absolute playmakers, and they failed to do so in a very important game. And then on the other hand, you have obviously Sacramento, who's playing good basketball. Sabonis, DeAndre Fox is just completely peeling off. And then how about Keegan Murray dropping a 30 bomb, going completely off? I think when you look at this game, and it's really against the spread type of situation, in my eyes, the Pelicans, they're a better team on the road when covering. Here's some against the spread stats for you with the Pelicans. 14-16 against the spread as home favorites, 24-27 against the spread as favorites, and they are favorites in this game, and 20-21 against the spread at home this season. I just don't like the way that this is laying for the Pelicans, and with Zion being out, it could be a very big issue for this New Orleans Pelicans club, Gabe.
Griffin Murphy kicking with us from Las Vegas, Nevada. On the other side, we'll see what he thinks about the weekend card, the NBA. Playoffs are set to tip off. We got the final play-in games tomorrow night. And then we roll out the ball onto the court. And, of course, the Stanley Cup playoffs begin Saturday afternoon/evening as well. And speaking of the NHL, they're playing for seeding right now. And both underdogs are leading. The Ducks are up 1-0 on the Knights, and the Blackhawks are up 1-0 on the Kings.
Talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Throwbacks in white have now become the main uniforms in black and green as well. 4-game green.
Your contracts will be higher in 5 years because the ratings will be through the roof, people. Listen to me. Play games at 7 o'clock. Get more ratings. Make more money. It's simple, but somehow they're imbeciles that make this playoff schedule. I can't figure it out.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
It's when he swung it easy at three-quarter golf swings, and he pretty much hit his number all the time. Dude, but when he hit something full, he hit it 20 yards over the greens at times. He's like, what are you doing? He's just smiley, happy, and a freakish athlete golf robot that's going to be right there winning majors for the next 10 plus years. It's amazing.
Did you say he was smiling or smiley?
Only on Sports Grid.
I mean, they're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, yeah, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
Let's roll. This is Sports Rage. We've got a full house here tonight. Brent Beard's going to step up in a little bit later on from Jacksonville, Florida. Spring football practice continues, college football. In fact, the Michigan Wolverines, baby, the defending national champions, spring practice game is on national television. It's on Fox this Saturday. Ohio State were on this past Saturday and looked really good, actually. And they look like they're loaded, stacked. That's the good news for them. The bad news is if you don't win, they're going to want Ryan Day's head on a platter, so you put a lot of pressure on yourself. They're spending $21 million in assistant coaches. That's their payroll for assistant coaches, $21 million. And how about this, Griffin? They spend more money than like MLS soccer teams do on their players. Ohio State's payroll is moving in on $20 million right now as well, like for their players.
That is outrageous. Outrageous.
It's an $18.7 million. Well, I'll never know the exact NIL deals, but that's the gist of it. It's about $20 million in NIL deals and $21 million to the coaching staff. So we're talking about a $40 million football team.
But better build a hell of a
CFL,
team.
Cam.
You're right. Ohio State is
the Hamlin Tiger Cats don't have $40 million to pay coaches, bro. Players.
No, they definitely don't.
They'll be like, no, it's not happening.
Coupons. Yeah, exactly.
They'll be like, how's 140 sound? How's 140,000 sound?
Good deal.
Not a bad job. You're a cornerback, defensive back coach of the Ticats. You get about 100, 200K or something, but
I'll take it.
Yeah, like these deals now, unbelievable, man. In college football. And do you bet the NFL draft, Griffin, at all? The draft is a week away right now.
I do. I mess around with it. I don't get too crazy with it, but I do obviously follow it, of course.
I've already put in a bunch of plays, and it's going to start to crank up right now. It'll really crank up on Monday, but for people that are really following us closely, there's all kinds of like smoke screens and like rumors, and everybody wants to trade. That's the big thing in the NFL. The Chargers are trying to get people to trade into that 5th pick. The Patriots are trying to get people to trade into the pick. The Commanders basically said publicly, we're going to stand pat. We like our position. I think it's Jaden Daniels that they're taking. So, they're going to they get whoever the hell they want after Caleb Williams. So we'll get into the NFL draft with Brent Beard later. So Saturday's card, Orlando Magic are the first ones up, back in the playoffs for the first time in like 6-7 years or whatever it is.
Yep.
Magic plus 4.5 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, total 207.5. I'm really looking forward to the Phoenix Suns T-Wolves game. Phoenix in Minneapolis. I don't think the T-Wolves are getting enough respect here. They're minus 1.5 point favorites, minus 125 on the money line. Knicks and Sixers is going to be a bloodbath. And then you got the Lakers getting 7.5 against the Nuggets on Saturday night. What do you think about Saturday's card, Griff?
I like the full card in general, I will say, but just starting off, if you want to break down, we can get into that Phoenix Sun Minnesota game. I mean, this is going to be our series. This is going to be a very good series because, I mean, you got to look at it on this side. As far as against the spread, the Phoenix Suns are one of the worst teams in all of the NBA when it comes to covering. But in this series, we're going to pretty much get a pick-em matchup the entire series. I mean, right now, I think the T-Wolves are laying 1.5. You've got Booker, Durant, and Beal as your 1, 2, 3 powerhouse with the Suns. You've got Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, and Edwards with Minnesota right now going head-to-head. Both of these teams play dominant basketball but they're divergent. Minnesota's that dominant team on the defensive side, while you have the Suns on the offensive side. The Suns are already on that 3-game winning streak. They're coming into this series with heavy momentum. Minnesota, in my eyes, they were one of the best teams in the NBA the first half of the season. Going into the second half of the season, they kind of fell off in my eyes. Where I find them with their most dominance is at home. Road games for them are going to be an issue in my eyes going into this matchup. And the biggest thing is going to be rebounds. This Minnesota Timberwolves team has to be consistent on the boards to beat this offense, because if they don't, KD and Booker are going to have that pick and roll rolling all game long, all series long, and that is going to be the X factor and how the Phoenix Suns take out the Minnesota Timberwolves in this series. That's my take on this one, boys.
Do you think they can, though? That's the thing. I don't think they can. You know what? And we talked about it last night. From a basketball standpoint, the Minnesota Timberwolves, one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, they have a lot of size in the paint, man. And it's not just Rudy Gobert. They have a lot of long bodies, big bodies. They're going to beat Phoenix on the glass, right? And in a half-court situation, and then they have Anthony Edwards just sort of flying around. Like I equate him to like a football player on the court. But can Phoenix consistently hit their outside shots for 7 games? Because the Phoenix they're not an interior team. They're going to have to hit shots from the outside. Can they do it for four wins in 7 games? I don't think so. I trust Anthony Edwards enough. Everyone's hyping up this kid as the future of the league. I think Wembanyama is, but I think Edwards is a badass, and I think this is his time to shine here, Griff, and lead the T-Wolves to victory.
You know, Gabe, I love your thought process on it. It's extremely logical. I am going to disagree with you, though. I do have to say, Suns this season against the Timberwolves, they beat them all 3 times. They're 3-0. The last time they beat them by 20 points. I don't see how they're going to slow down Devin Booker and KD. I am really looking at the perimeter shots. That is where I do think, just as you said, are they going to be able to outshoot them? I think they are going to be able to do so. This is playoff basketball. The energy is high. The intensity is high. And you know Booker, KD wants it. KD wants that ring. He's going all out for this one. And especially Beal, now fully healthy, because you've had to deal with his debacle all season long. Injured out. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? I really love where the Suns are sitting in this one. And my pick in this series is going to be taking the Suns in this one to beat them.
Griffin, we only got about 2 minutes here. What do you think about the Mavericks-Clippers series and the Pacers-Bucks series, just quickly?
That one is going to be extremely tough for me. So when it comes to the Clippers Dallas series, I like this one. All right. And my sleeper team for the entire playoffs right now is going to be Dallas. Luka in general. This guy can do it all. And Kyrie Irving has finally stepped it up. How many times have we seen the Clippers in this situation and continuously fail? And then you have Kawhi Leonard, who's been hurt, injured, on and off, coming back and forth. This is playoff basketball. You have to be playing with your team consistently, leading up over and over again for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Get that full momentum, that full charisma, that flow. I don't think the Clippers are going to have it. They do this every single year, and they let everybody down. And then you go to Dallas right now. Luka's finally kicking it up all season long. Kyrie is geared up now. He is playing his best basketball. They are dealing with some injuries, but they have no issue playing on the road, and they play great at home. I like Dallas here, guys. That's my play with this one. I think Dallas cleans them up.
This is going to be a fun series. Great matchup. This is like the fourth time they played in like last 5-6 years. They've run into each other quite a bit. We'll see if Kawhi's return here, if they really do have that switch to flick. I do think we're going to be looking at a 7-game series here between these teams. Griff, where can people find you online, my man?
So I'm DocSports.com. I'm a professional sports handicapper over there. My Twitter is @GMurphyWins. Instagram, GBaby. Very simple. That's where you guys can find me.
All right, give a shout out to my boy, Tony George.
Yes, sir.
I look forward to seeing you guys in Vegas down the road. Who knows? We'll see how these NHL playoffs play out.
Absolutely, brother. Gabe, thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure seeing you guys. Appreciate you guys. Take care. Keep killing them, boys.
Hey, good stuff, Griff. Always a pleasure, my man. There's Griffin Murphy from Doc Sports. NBA playoffs set to tip off fully on Saturday, but we got the games tomorrow night. Both tricky games, both with the same point spreads. Miami Heat are -1.5 point favorites right now, and the Kings are -1.5 point favorites on the road against the Zionless Pelicans.
Talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Throwbacks in white have now become the main uniforms in black and green as well. 4-game green.
Your contracts will be higher in 5 years because the ratings will be through the roof, people. Listen to me. Play games at 7 o'clock. Get more ratings. Make more money. It's simple, but somehow they're imbeciles that make this playoff schedule. I can't figure it out.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
It's when he swung it easy at three-quarter golf swings, and he pretty much hit his number all the time. Dude, but when he hit something full, he hit it 20 yards over the greens at times. He's like, what are you doing?
He's just smiley, happy, and a freakish athlete golf robot that's going to be right there winning majors for the next 10-plus years. It's amazing.
Did you say he was smiling or smiley?
Only on Sports Grid.
They're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
The Thursday Night Throwdown continues. This is Sports Rage. I'm Morency. Thanks to Griffin Murphy for stepping up and in. We had Drew Martin as well. We got a full house here tonight. Big Card Julio is going to join us in a couple of minutes. Brent Beard joins me in level 3. Mick Aussie steps up and in right now. Mick, let's do this thing. We still don't know who the Edmonton Oilers are going to be playing yet. I was hoping we were going to know by the time you joined us, but we need to see how this Vegas and LA Kings situation plays out. But it looks like the Oilers are going to be playing on Monday night, either way, at home. And the playoffs start. Are you going to go? What do you do for the playoffs? Like in Edmonton, don't they have that? They set up the big stuff outside and all that. Are they doing that this year?
Yeah, I've been downtown and hung out before the game. Absolutely,
what is it?
I have. But
what street is it called? What's the street? Is it?
Oh, it's just the oil district down across from the beautiful.
What is it? The Calgary? Is it the Whiteout in Calgary? The White Street? Is it White Street or whatever?
I know. Yeah, they have a name for it too. What is it? Damn.
Yeah.
You're right. The Red
Rick
Mile.
doesn't know anything about hockey. The Red Mile.
Calgary's Red Mile.
Yeah, the Calgary's Red Mile.
And
I thought Edmonton's the
has a name
Street,
too.
Whiteout or something.
Yes.
No, I know Winnipeg's the Whiteout, but it's White Street or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's White Avenue in Edmonton, isn't it? White Avenue?
It's White Avenue, yes. White
There we go.
Avenue.
So I was right. What are you telling me? Yeah.
It's the best.
I don't even live there. I don't even live there, and I know. Someone asked me where the party is. Get right down there on White Street or something.
White Avenue.
Well,
White Avenue.
if you listen, no, it used to be there, but now that the $600 million spaceship stadium built, it's in there. It's right next there, across the road where there's bars and a big area. So no, it's oil district downtown across
It's called
from
the
the
oil
stadium.
district.
Yeah,
I like the oil district. Yeah, oil. Amazing. Mick.
I'll pass. I'll stay.
You're more into what's the Canucks district? I don't know. If they got a nickname for it, who knows?
They're lame.
Yeah.
No, Bettman screwed everything up too. They're scrambling right now. I just saw in the Vancouver media that they're putting it together now. But yes, there's going to be an outdoor party and stuff every night. Which, of course, the whole thing comes up right away about don't riot this time, right? So, that's the big thing in Vancouver. Like they're cautious about it. They're like, well, the Canucks haven't made the playoffs in a little while. They're not used to this, so they're just gonna they're gonna put up an outdoor screen outside and stuff. So Mick, speaking of teams, your Adelaide Crows in action here. I look at this game between Adelaide and the Bombers, and without even looking at the total, like I didn't look at the spread. I looked at the game first before looking at the number, and both these teams kind of have trouble scoring, it seems to me, Mick. You know what I mean? You get into the 60s, the 70s. Like, there's not a lot. I know last week you guys finally got in the win column with the 198 win. But Essendon don't play high-scoring games. I'm not sure they get to 170. I bet a lot of these AFL totals, and they don't score as many points as they used to in this league. I think the total's too high, Mick. What do you think?
well, you might be right because the Crows were the highest scoring team last year, but they've been terrible this year. But they got their win by kicking 14 goals, 6. So very accurate kicking. Defeated Carlton by 2 points over there in Melbourne. So it was a very good win. Now, the Bombers, they are all over the place. They got destroyed by Port Adelaide 2 weeks ago. Then they had a good win last week. The most unpredictable team is the Bombers. That said, I think at home, take Crows on the money line or 1-39 and take the Bombers on the plus 13.5 because some people think the Bombers will even win it.
I like that 1-39. I'm going to look here. Winning. Let me get the winning margin 1-39.
Those are the best winning margins out there. I love the way they do it. It's cool.
Yeah,
nice.
Adelaide 1-39 is plus 105. Cam.
Yeah.
Essendon, same thing, plus 190, 1-39. But I think, Mick, that Adelaide plus 105, 1-39, I don't think they're going to win by 40 points, bro.
Well, something would have to change all of a sudden, and they'd have to score a lot of goals. Their big forward, Tex Walker's back and kicked 4 goals last week. And Isaac Rankin, their recruit from last year, he's a little star. He's playing well. But I still don't trust the Crows, mate. I don't trust either of these teams. So be careful. Bombers on the plus, probably. Crows to win just, I hope and I think.
I'm going to take Adelaide 1-39, plus 105. And I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under the 170.5. I think it's going to be a slugfest. So that game's coming up at 5:40 Eastern, 2:40 Pacific, and then we got Collingwood and Port Adelaide. Collingwood minus 3.5 against the Power here, Mick. Big time teams going head to head here. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, the reigning premiers, the Collingwood Magpies, they started very slow, lost their first 3 games. Port Adelaide are doing very well, but Port were lucky to win last week. This is straight out a home field pick for me. Take Collingwood just because it's in Melbourne at their home ground. They'll have 80,000 crazy fans going nuts there. So probably Collingwood. But again, very tough game. And this is a tough week where I think about most of the games could go either way. So I like the plus on a lot of games, but 3.5 is not much to play with. So take Collingwood 1-39 or the money line, but be careful. Port Adelaide can totally win this.
All right, back to well, thanks for the confidence, Mick. At the end,
I'm being honest, mate. I'm being honest.
He's a good politician.
He tells us he likes Adelaide to win the game. The other team to cover it. He goes, I don't have much confidence in either of them.
I don't. 40 money line seems very light, though, right, Morency? So what do you do? You take money line 3 and like how do you attack it? That's the question.
I just take Collingwood to win the game minus 129.
Yeah, that's good. I got 140, so you got a nice number there. Okay, cool.
And I would go Adelaide plus 105, instead of laying 209 with Adelaide, I'd go 1-39.
Yeah.
The 1-39 margin for Collingwood is plus 130.
It's good. I don't think they'll destroy Port Adelaide if they win. Port Adelaide's a very good team, mate. They're lucky last week. They're on ball as the Stars, mate. So
they're
very
4-1.
good battle.
4 wins, 1 loss on the season only. Carlton and Great Western Sydney. Carlton, the Blues are minus 2.5. The total is 175.5. Brisbane and Geelong play. Brisbane are 10.5-point favorites, 162.5. My West Coast Eagles are getting 32.5 against the Fremantle Dockers, 163.5. And Sydney and Gold Coast in action. Mick, what do you like this week? And the last one on the card. The Roos getting 15.5 against the Hawks.
All right, I'll go rapid fire. I took the Giants to win just. They got injuries. Both teams have got injuries. Very tough one to pick. It is in Melbourne, the Blues' home ground. I like the Lions to win probably, but I put the Cats on the plus 10.5. The Cats are 5-0. They haven't beaten anyone really, really good, and Brisbane is starting to come good, and it's at their home field up at the Gabba. Another great game. I like your Eagles to cover the 33.5 as we see there. They got their first win last week and they won by 39 points over the Tigers. Dockers are a low-scoring team. They've scored 9 goals each in the last 3 games. It'll be a defensive battle. So I think that 33 is too high. So take the Dockers to win, Eagles to cover.
Hey, how about those West Coast Eagles? You called it, Mick, last week.
Yeah, great call.
And their junior team won too, right? What do they call the youth team? What's the second league called? What do you call that other league? The reserve league. Is it the reserve? Is it called?
Yep.
Reserve league.
So their second team are in the Western Australian Football League. So they play all the other teams that used to be a great league before the AFL came in. Same with the SANFL, but now the AFL, their reserves team. They're trying to get a national reserves league. I don't like it. It takes away from local competition. The Eagles have got a star, mate. The number 1 pick, Harley Reid, he's going to be a superstar and he's starting to play well. They got some players coming back, but I like the Eagles on the plus just because the Dockers are a very defensive, low-scoring team.
in a true bandwagon fashion, I think now that they're getting good again, I'll jump back on the wagon. Let's go, Eagles.
Exactly.
We're back. No, but you called it. It's true. It's been a couple of years, Cam, but you notice, sort of like the San Jose Sharks, we talk about them sucking and the Barracuda sucking. West Coast are starting to get better, and West Coast's like junior team is better too. Like they know what they're doing. It's just taking a little while, Mick. I guess in 2-3 years, maybe they'll be like, at the top of the ladder once again. All right, Mick, great stuff. What are you doing tomorrow night? You got another, you going to an award show? Are you winning an award or something, Mick? What is it?
No, it's Edmonton Cricket League, massive big banquet where all the awards get handed out. As you know, I did a cricket show here all last year, a TSN-style half-hour show or Sports Grid style, and got paid good money, and we filmed and did a lot of cricket coverage. So I'm going to go there. I might be the only white guy there, serious. It's going to be all Indians, Pakistan people, and their heritage, right? So it's going to be interesting. But the Indian food, I've got to be careful of that because I can't handle the spicy food.
Delicious.
I'm a big butter chicken guy.
Yeah,
big butter chicken. Chicken tandoori, butter chicken. It's all good.
Masala chicken. All day, all night. Beautiful.
All right, we got to start. We got to start talking more cricket next time, Mick, because I'm a big Mumbai Indian fan myself. Yeah. That's my team. In fact, the other night I was in an Uber with a guy, and I don't know how it came up. He was an Indian dude. And we were talking, and he goes, "You ever been to India?" I said, "No, I've never been to India." He was almost like, "Why not?" I said, "I never had a reason to go." So he got mad, and I told him, I said, I bet on the Mumbai Indians. He really liked that. He was happy.
Talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Throwbacks in white have now become the main uniforms in black and green as well. 4-game green.
Your contracts will be higher in 5 years because the ratings will be through the roof, people. Listen to me. Play games at 7 o'clock. Get more ratings. Make more money. It's simple, but somehow they're imbeciles that make this playoff schedule. I can't figure it out.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
It's when he swung it easy at three-quarter golf swings, and he pretty much hit his number all the time. Dude, but when he hit something full, he hit it 20 yards over the greens at times. He's like, what are you doing?
He's just smiley, happy, and a freakish athlete golf robot that's going to be right there winning majors for the next 10-plus years. It's amazing.
Did you say he was smiling or smiley?
Only on Sports Grid.
They're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
This is Sports Rage. I'm Morency. Told you guys off the top I like the under 8.5 in the D-backs Giants game, but then the total was 6.5 when the show started. It's 1-0 right now in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Giants do have the bases loaded, though, with nobody out, so they could really blow this game open right now over to visiting Arizona Diamondbacks. Speaking of Arizona, of course, they had their last hockey game last night, but Bettman's obsessed with that market, and he never does this for anybody else. They put it in writing. This guy in Arizona really got off. Like, dude, he paid nothing for the team hardly. The NHL is paying $1.2 billion to buy the team from him, and Utah is paying for it. He's getting all this money now, and he even got it in writing from Bettman that he's on the clock. He's got 5 years, so he can't wait 5 years for the arena. The arena has to be ready in 5 years to play. So the NHL promised to go back to Arizona within 5 years if they build an arena. And now Buddy's got $1.2 billion, and my bet is he won't build the arena. He's going to take the money.
I agree. You're damn right. You said it, Richie. Actually, I didn't know the whole extent of the story. That's actually insulting and gross to all the other teams that have lost franchises. No one's had a sweetheart deal like that. That's ridiculous.
See, look, here's the words. I've negotiated the right to reactivate the Coyotes team name within the next 5 years and have retained ownership to the beloved image, name, brand, and logo. I remain committed to the community.
Committed to what?
He kept the Tucson team, too. He owns the Tucson team. He didn't give up the Tucson team. So he owns the AHL team still. Yeah. So maybe they'll pull it off, but I don't know. The guy's got $1.2 billion now, and once he's got all this money, he's going to get tired of arguing with a bunch of loser politicians and city councilmen. He's going to say, screw this. I'm going to go invest somewhere else.
Sorry, I'm going like Paul Bovey around the world. See you later, Arizona. I don't understand how that it can even exist. That's disgusting, in my opinion, but whatever. Nothing surprises me anymore.
1-1 in Vegas after 2 periods of play. Important game, but like I said, I don't know who these teams really want to play behind the scenes. I imagine, I don't know. We'll bring Julio in, but like I said, Julio to Cam earlier, the Vegas and LA come in here separated by 1 point. If Vegas finish ahead of them tonight, they end up playing the Edmonton Oilers, and Edmonton have home ice advantage. Or if they lose, they end up getting Dallas. And Dallas, like either way, Edmonton or Dallas isn't a fun team to play. So I don't really know how much this really matters, to be honest. But I don't know. You could argue, like you said, oh, you know what, Dallas are so good, Cam, but Dallas choke all the time in the playoffs too. So I think it's a toss-up either way. But how you doing, Julio?
I'm doing well, and I get the feeling the White Sox will move to Nashville in a few years. So it was. I love watching live events. It was gut-wrenching watching the Arizona Coyotes television and listening on radio last night. That's. Oh my gosh, that was tough.
I got choked up. I'm not even a Coyote fan. We're watching the girls cry and the little kids.
Old ladies crying, little kids crying.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, man. It was heartbreaking. I get the feeling they're going to be like the Quebec Nordiques or even the Winnipeg Jets when the Coyotes made the playoffs in '97. I think the Utah whatevers are going to be a really good hockey team in the years to come. I wouldn't even be surprised if they made the playoffs next year. I mean, just given the amount of talent the Coyotes have been stockpiling over the years.
Agreed.
Man, I feel horrible for the Coyotes fans. I agree with you guys. I think that owner's going to take the money and run. He said today on Arizona radio he's going to bring the Roadrunners. He's going to move them from Tucson and play them in Muller Arena.
The Mullet.
So
yeah, that's cool. It's a nice little arena and stuff, but
here's the deal, though.
We'll see how it plays out.
So Bettman gets he talks to these guys like, oh, don't worry, you're coming back, yet threatens Winnipeg because, oh, your attendance is down and stuff. what the hell's going on here? Like, I just don't like. He picks and chooses his like loves, and you know what I mean. There's obviously major favoritism going on. I think it's pathetic, personally. That's my opinion.
There are a lot of owners in the NHL that are not happy because the league put money into Arizona over the years, and now this guy who couldn't get anything done just got $1 billion.
Well, hey, get this.
A lot of the owners are like, so this guy made money after it, and he's getting $1.2 billion?
Yeah.
What do we get out of this? We don't get anything. And now Salt Lake gets a team. Like, so the rest of the owners, they're not happy. So it's not like the league was all in, like Gary's just doing it. And the other owners aren't getting anything from this because it's not an expansion team. Imagine, Julio. Not an expansion team. They're moving. So there no other owners getting money from this. It's left a bad taste it's left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. The D-backs comment, entire Diamondback organization disappointed with now official news of NHL team being relocated. No, you're not. Now it's just more revenue for you and advertising dollars for you.
More D-backs fans.
They said that publicly behind the scenes.
I know.
Behind the scenes, they're right away to be on the phone. And I'd be on, if I was the president of D-backs marketing, I'd be like, get on the phone with all those Coyote sponsors and get them over here with us. You know what I mean?
Start working
they got
some
money to
deals
spend.
there.
I'd be doing the same thing if I was Arizona State and Arizona Sports College. I'd be like, I'd be poaching all the sponsors. Hey, you guys need a background in a college game?
Last thing on this, what's even more insulting about this whole Coyote situation, the owner admitted today he could have signed a 20-year lease a few years ago to stay in Glendale, but said, nah, forget it. He felt confident enough he would get another arena, which never happened.
No, you know why, Julio? Because the guy, that's the whole problem with this guy. It's never just been about hockey. The people of Phoenix and Arizona, they went to the games. This guy, like the mayor said, he said, you want to build a casino, condo complex, and a shopping mall with the disguise of a hockey arena. He was trying to pull a fast one. He doesn't care about hockey. He wanted to take over like a business development type thing and make a ton of money. And they were like, just build your damn, you have the arena. They why would they, imagine being Arizona politician. You can't call them out. They'd be like, we already have a bunch of arenas. You have an arena in Phoenix for the Suns. You have an arena in Glendale that you refused to sign the lease of and then didn't pay your bills on time and it kicked you out. We're not building you an arena. We're not giving you land. That's why we're here. Last thing about Utah, though, you guys are right, and Cam, the Coyotes have a lot of good young players and talent. They're not far off from being a competitive team. And I brought it up, Julio, last night and on other shows. Ryan Smith, the owner, this guy's young, he's hip, he's super rich. He wants to win, Julio. And as I stated, you know this, bro. No brother in the NBA is willingly going to the Utah Jazz. You might get drafted there, right? You might sign there later in your career. You might get traded there later, you know what I mean? Nobody, no free agent is ever going to say, oh, yeah, man, Utah's the place to be for me. It won't happen. So no matter how rich he is, he doesn't have the opportunity to get a Kevin Durant or a Kyrie because they're going to laugh at him. You know what I mean? I'm not moving to Salt Lake. So they won't do it. Now, hockey, he won't have that problem. Hockey players will be, sure, I'll move to Salt Lake City. You're paying me $12 million bucks a year? Great.
Absolutely.
He'll have no problem. And he's so rich. He's so rich. NHL money and contracts are nothing compared to NBA contracts. It'll be nothing for the guy. They'll be like, you're telling me I can get the top NHL free agent for $10 million? Sure. He's going to do it.
Yep. No doubt about it. I mean, they've already sold 11,000 season tickets, or they made 11,000 season ticket deposits. So everyone's excited.
There, did that.
all the hockey moms will love Park City, Utah, which is 35 miles away from Salt Lake.
Real housewives of Salt Lake.
Yes. So the hockey wives are going to love Salt Lake City. They're going to love it.
Salt Lake. Yeah, you're right.
They drink their wine, go skiing. Yeah, a lot of skiing.
Yeah, they'll make a lot of trips. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you said it, man.
That's why NBA players don't like it, Julio. They don't ski. Like Shaq and Barkley said when the All-Star game. Remember they did the show with the ski-o behind them all week? They were like, they asked, did you guys get out there? Like, no. Remember Shaq said, he said, I've never spent so much time in my hotel in my life because I have room service.
Hey, Gabe, imagine Shaq and Charles on a snow machine. They go right through the ice. Like, these guys wouldn't even know what to do. It'd be unbelievable.
Put them on the lift. They'd fall off. The lift would break.
The chairlift, it's scary enough for a skinny guy. You're right. They'd snap it. Bye.
I used to not be scared of chairlifts. Now there's no way in hell I'd get on one. So, Julio, the PHWL was back tonight. It snuck up on me after the World Championships.
Yeah.
But I got in on it. I ended up going 2-1 only. I didn't play the totals. Montreal's good. So I took Montreal. And they came back. They beat Minnesota in the Verdun Auditorium in Montreal. Boston beat Toronto tonight 2-1. So we had an under, we had an over, we had a dog win, a favorite win. But it's good to have the PWHL back. And you tweeted out the video. I saw Brian Burke talking about it, who's the longtime NHL guy, exec with the PWHL. And they were talking about the physicality of the PWHL. And he basically said they like the toughness. They don't mind the hitting that's going on in the league now. But he basically said, we told the players, like, we got to draw a line. You girls can't start punching each other in the face. We don't want fighting in the league. And you saw tonight, they're getting close. Like, these girls are killing each other, Julio. I know you watch the league. Dude, every game is getting more contentious between them, where it's like they're fighting now. They're hitting each other in the face with sticks and stuff now. It's getting cool.
6-team league. They've been playing each other multiple times already. The World Women's Championships just took place in Utica, which was a very physical tournament. So I love it. It's just terrible here in the States that it's on YouTube and it's not on ESPN or even a local network.
Is that how you watch it on YouTube?
Are way tougher than it's on YouTube.
Yes, it's on YouTube.
Is that how you're watching it? Yeah.
It's on YouTube, man.
YouTube TV.
Here we go.
That's crazy.
Catch it.
I think in Canada it's on TSN, but here in the States it's on YouTube, which is pathetic.
It's on both.
I'll tell you
pretty
this.
much. Not every game of the league is on, but they have, like, anytime the league is playing, Julio, that night, there's a game of the night on. Like, every game has been on pretty much.
I've seen more hits from behind, chippiness and whatever in that women's league in those games than the NHL. Those girls, it's different, man. You get girls on ice, it's insanity. It's like women's soccer, too. A lot of the time, worse tackles, worse whatever. It's just the way it is.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
It's tough, man. It's facts.
But like Julio said, too,
true.
These women play against each other so much. The USA, Canada, international stuff. A lot of them have personal bad blood and feuds now. And they're all mixed together on these teams, and it just turns into there's a lot of mouthing off. Like Toronto and Boston, where like Toronto talk a lot. The girls on Toronto, and people don't like the Toronto girls. I've noticed they've got Spooner and they've got Sarah Nurse.
Yeah, it's much true.
What's the other girl's name? Brooke Jenner. Like, she talks a lot too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that talk, but it's cool. That's we're at the point now. Like Burke said, though, he goes, we got to draw the line at fighting. He said, we don't want fighting in this league. So 5-1 Colorado now in a hockey game. It just won't end. I don't have any action on this, though.
I do. I got under 7.5 live, and I bet 6.5 before the game. So just end this damn game. And the thing is, there might not be a goalie pull. I'm telling you, Gabe, I would not be shocked if the Blackhawks and Ducks both, like, those crazy underdogs won.
Wow.
It's just that, I'm on every under tonight.
Get ready for Dallas, LA. You guys are done. You're not beating the Stars.
Yeah. See you later. Yep. History.
We'll get Julio's picks on the other side. What do you got for us tonight, Julio? You got some NBA, NHL, soccer. What do you got for us?
Yeah, your local league. What do you got?
we got a nice MLS future for you coming up after the break, and I'm swinging for the fences in the Eastern Conference as Le Coup de Stanley drops the puck on Saturday.
I like the West. I don't like where you're going with this, Julio.
I like it very much, Julio.
Talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it, but the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
throwbacks in white have now become the main uniforms in black and green as well. 4-game green.
Your contracts will be higher in 5 years because the ratings will be through the roof, people. Listen to me. Play games at 7 o'clock. Get more ratings. Make more money. It's simple, but somehow they're imbeciles that make this playoff schedule. I can't figure it out.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
It's when he swung it easy at three-quarter golf swings, and he pretty much hit his number all the time. Dude, but when he hit something full, he hit it 20 yards over the greens at times. He's like, what are you doing?
He's just smiley, happy, and a freakish athlete golf robot that's going to be right there winning majors for the next 10-plus years. It's amazing.
Did you say he was smiling or smiley?
Only on Sports Grid.
They're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, yeah, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on Sports Grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Moretzi. I was just telling Julio during the break. I said, Julio, I see Julio's Twitter account. You love all that stuff, Julio. You jump right in, and you were all over Greg Doyle after the press conference. And there's another video now, too. He's going to have a problem for real now. Like, at first, it was sort of, he didn't handle it well. He didn't apologize at first. Then he said, apology coming in my column. So it's like someone said. They said, so what? We have to click your column for you to say you're sorry so you get hits? Yeah. Right? Then I thought about that. I was like, yeah, that was kind of a sleazy move, bro. Like, come out and say, apology in the column. And now there's another video of him awkwardly talking to the coach. And you could tell the coach got, really perturbed as well. And I think we're at the point right now, Julio, where the Indy Stars should probably just say, listen, we don't want Doyle around our players anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It'd be for the best. I'm just saying, he's all gung-ho, and he's too gung-ho, Cam. He's not, I don't think he's a bad guy. He was like, I'm so happy. It sounded like he was hitting on her. It was like, I'm so happy you're here in Indianapolis, Caitlin. She goes, I'm glad to be here. Cool. I'm glad you're, you know what I mean? She was just sort of cool. And then he does the sign. She goes, you like the sign? And he goes, yeah, I like it if you do it to me.
That's creepy.
You're in a press conference here with Caitlin Clark. What are you talking about? What are you doing?
Can't do that anymore.
You know what I mean?
That is so
if you're a fan on the street and you got a crush on her, it's fine. You're, hey, Caitlin, I love you, baby. You know what I mean? We're like, dude, you're a columnist for the Indy Star. It was so inappropriate. You know what I mean?
That is. Wow, that's weird.
Very awkward.
That's so weird. That's awkward. Big time. Wow.
Yeah, it was awkward.
Didn't you have picks for us or something? Or Gabe?
I'll start Julio's picks on the other side here.
Oh,
really quick. Phillies.
Hold on, Julio.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. That's my fault. Break's coming up.
Julio's best bets on the other side. And we got Brett Pierce stepping up and in at level 3. This is Sports Rage.
I didn't know he was going.